Hey guys, welcome back to another tutorial video. Today we are working on Sunsu. Now we know that this is the only Ishin Kata, and the goal here today is to help you get it just right. There's a lot of parts in Sunsu that are done a little bit off and maybe not quite understood. So today we've gathered together a few of your senseis to help you with that. So let's dive in. Today's video will be grouped into two segments. The first part, we are preparing to begin, will show you the complete pattern of Sunsu Kata. That way, when you're practicing at home, if you forget what comes next, you can watch the entire kata and find out what technique you might be missing. Later in the video, after the full kata has been shown, we'll spend some time detailing some areas of Sunsu that are commonly done incorrectly or misunderstood. Hopefully you'll find this video helpful. Now it's time to take a deeper look at some of the details within the kata. You'll see that we repeat each section multiple times over while we discuss the details. In the first part, one of the things that are commonly done incorrectly is placing the stab techniques or nuki strikes a little bit too high. You'll see the group, when they perform their double nuki strike, perform them slightly lower, right about at belt level. Once you have completed the double punch, you'll use your right foot to step in to this open hand guard. This technique is actually opening up a target with the intention of luring the attacker to attack the ribs. You'll see on the right side of the screen, Sensei Jacob is showing you from the front what the techniques actually look like as you move towards the back. Keep in mind that this segment of the video is not designed for pattern recognition. We're simply doing a deep dive to see some closer details. In this technique, the group is transitioning into a crane stance while performing a wrist lock technique. You'll notice that the left hand is positioned in a palm up position while the right hand is palm down. You'll also notice that the elbows are closer to the ribs and the elbows are slightly bent rather than completely straight. After this wrist lock technique and the kick that follows, you'll see that the group performs a double punch. The top punch is turned into a horizontal position and aimed at the head, while the bottom punch is vertical, as most of our Ishinryu techniques are. You'll want to make sure that the target areas are correct, and so that bottom punch aims at the solar plexus. In the next segment, our group is pulling back into a cat stance and doing a set of double jodan blocks. One of the things that we want to make sure you remember to do is use both feet when transitioning into a cat stance. You'll notice that their back foot slides back before they set the stance into position. The next segment demonstrates how the otoshigiris should be performed. These kicks are commonly done incorrectly because often the practitioner executes the kick directly in front of their body rather than on the angle as seen here in this clip. When performing this kata, you'll leave the cat stance by taking a right foot forward angle step and stacking your hands to the right side of the body. Your left foot will kick on a 45-degree angle, followed by your right foot doing that same 45-degree angle kick. You'll see from the close-up that the toes are pulled completely back, and the kick does not begin at the knee the way yokogiri does. Next up, we'll move into a series of upper body techniques. Your first technique has you doing a shuffle or stutter step with your right foot as you block a punch with your right open hand and deliver a left hand strike to the ribs. This block and strike pattern is followed by a second stutter step and an elbow that is delivered straight forward to the solar plexus. You'll notice that the first elbow in the series travels in a different direction than the double elbow series at the end. We'll give you a little bit of a close-up now using a front-facing view. This is the first technique, followed by that forward-facing elbow, finalized by the outside elbows that hit more in the rib area. You'll notice that the first elbow travels straight forward and the double elbows travel around from the side. It's important to notice that when you turn to face the back and do the elbows that follow the guard, all three of the elbows in this section are done from the outside, aiming at the ribs. None of them are similar to that first elbow in the previous series, which traveled in a more straightforward manner. Moving on after the elbow series, we see the group starting in a cat stance and moving their right foot forward into a shikodachi in order to do a closed hand grab. This technique is showing you that you are grabbing the opponent's punch and using your left foot to spin backwards towards the front to execute a left hand elbow strike. That elbow strike should be performed with the palm facing up. Once the elbow strike has been completed, the group is pulling away to a cat stance with both hands in an open position. The right hand is positioned above the head while the left is extended downward. From that position, you'll step out into a shikodachi with your knees pulled tightly out, and then use your left foot to turn away from the front of the room and use your left hand in a push down position. As you do this, please remember to pull your right hand back to your hip to finalize the technique. In this clip, the group is moving on to the next technique that follows. You'll notice that they shuffle but stay in a shikodachi. As the left hand pulls back to the hip, the right arm is actually blocking a punch with the flat part of the elbow. When performing this technique, keep that right fist attached to your ribs. Just remember to pull your left hand back to your hip. This technique also involves shuffling but maintaining a shikodachi. In the next segment, our group is stepping across into a crane stance, also known as koza dachi, which means cross stance. When performing this cross stance step, you'll want to make sure that your arms do not travel in an overly circular pattern. Both hands will open and drop below the waistline in order to perform the grab in an upward motion. Once the grab is complete, the kick that follows is a yokogiri, which is done with the blade of the foot. This kick is difficult to accomplish from this koza dachi position. You'll need to turn your hip so that the side of your foot, also known as the blade, extends toward the front of the room where the target is. This is not a front kick. You'll also notice that the group is pulling their arms back towards the body as they execute the kick. Once the kick has been completed, you'll want to land immediately facing to the left of the room. This means that you will not land your kick and then turn, but rather land the kick in the new side-facing position. Your right hand will perform an open hand strike with the heel of your palm, known as the shote, followed by that same strike in an upward fashion towards the face. You'll want to make sure that when you do this shote, you do not crunch your fingers in an overly bent fashion. A pulled back wrist and a tight hand is desirable. When turning into the next series of techniques which mirror what you just did, there is no half turn and the hands do not stack on the side of the body. Instead, use your right foot to turn and face the opposite direction as you immediately execute a left hand low shote strike. You'll also notice during this first strike that the opposite hand retracts to the body at exactly the same time that the left hand is doing the low strike. Please remember to keep your toes pointed downward on all knee strikes. In the next clip, you'll see the group using their right foot to step back to a koza dachi. The intent is imagining that there is a kick being delivered to you in which you're using your right foot to move away from. This is why the double blocks are performed at exactly the same time as the koza dachi. Once you've completed the kick, you'll land and transition your left foot back into a similar position, performing the double blocks again with the opposite hands. We've arrived at the end of the kata, which involves doing 2 armbar techniques. You'll see that the group is breaking this down as if it were being taught to a beginner. In this way, we hope that you will see the details up close. When you begin, you'll have your right palm facing down, closer to the body, and your left hand extended further outward with your palm facing up. Those arms will turn into an opposite facing position and then pull as you exhale. As a beginner, the next technique is similar, and so as you take your step, simply slide the arms into the new position without twisting them. Once you've arrived at the completion of the step, then turn your palms in the opposite direction and do that same exhale and pull. Don't rush the workings on the detail. Take your time with this and get your arms and body to flow in a manner that is easily repeatable multiple times over. Once you've done that, take a look at the side by side and you can see just how the armbar should be performed in a more fluid manner. Finally, use your right foot to step back to complete the kata.